1, 2. Hello, sports fans, and welcome to the Scott Sports 101 Sunday Night Football postgame show and Monday Night Football update show, which we have two Monday night games going on tonight. And you'll get the trivia questions for both of them in just a moment for tonight. But first, we're going to recap the Sunday night game from last night. The Dallas Cowboys walloped the Philadelphia Eagles 33-13 at AT&T Stadium in Big D last night. Mike McCarthy was nervous for an NFC showdown with Philadelphia after the Dallas coach missed 2 days during the week after an emergency appendectomy. Not to worry, thanks to his quarterback, kicker, and optimistic defense, Dak Prescott threw for 2 touchdowns. Brandon Aubrey made 4 field goals to start his career and a record 30 for 30, and the Cowboys pulled even in the division with their 15th consecutive home victory, 33-13 over the Eagles last night. The Cowboys are now 10-3 on the season, weren't deferred by Jalen Carter's 42-yard fumble return for a touchdown, winning their 5th consecutive game since a loss of Philly that gave the Eagles a 2-game division lead. Dallas owner Jerry Jones said it was the biggest win in McCarthy's 4 seasons as coach. And it has to do with the fact that he came up off the operating table and did not even wince and stand there and fight it all night and coach it, Jones said. The Eagles, who are now 10-3 on the season, lost 3 fumbles and didn't score an offensive touchdown as quarterback Jalen Hurts, who had the first fumble, lost consecutive games for the first time since October 2021. The Eagles, while the Cowboys currently hold the tiebreaker with an extra NFC East victory, the defending NFC champion Eagles would take the division title on subsequent tiebreakers if they win their remaining 4 games. The role is the same as it's always been, Coach Mike Sirianni said, and now we're going through some adversity, and so adversity can do a couple of things to you. It can break you, or it can make it way better. Aubrey became the first kicker within 2 field goals, of at least 59 yards in the same game, connecting from 60 yards late in the first quarter, and his 59-yarder in the third allowed Aubrey to surpass Greg Zuerlein and Harrison Butker, who each had a pair of at least 58 yards. The 28-year-old rookie added 2 in the fourth quarter from 45 and 50 yards to extend his NFL record for perfection to start a career. The previous record was 18. Just going out there and doing it comes doing it one at a time, said Aubrey, who grew up in the Dallas area, and once was a Major League Soccer prospect. I know I can make any of the kicks they've asked me to do, with McCarthy calling plays from the sideline. Just 4 days after leaving the facility and ending up in surgery, Prescott had a career best 7th consecutive game with at least 2 TD passes. I just wanted to do my part, said McCarthy, who's in his first year of calling plays for Dallas. I wanted to make sure I was prepared, and as I normally am, I was a little nervous about it. Today, we're all creatures of habit. The Dallas offense offense bogged down after Prescott's first half TD passes. Two big completions for first downs to tight end Jake Ferguson, including a A hurdling effort early in the fourth quarter led to both Aubrey's field goals after the break. The Cowboys were cruising down when Prescott lost control of the ball while being sacked by Fletcher Cox in the third quarter, and Carter picked up the loose ball and ran untouched to get the Eagles within 24-13, within 11 points, down 2 touchdowns. Late in the third, Philadelphia couldn't convert on 4th and 8 from the Dallas 30-yard line. Stephon Gilmore made the open field tackle on Devontae Smith for just a 1-yard gain. The fourth down stop was probably the biggest one of the game, McCarthy said. That was a huge momentum swing in the game. I thought our defense was lights out tonight. Smith later had the last of Philadelphia's 3 fumbles, ending any realistic hopes for a rally. All 3 fumbles ended promising drives for the Eagles, who were coming off a 42-19 loss to San Francisco. It was the same thing 2 weeks in a row, Cox said. We kind of dug ourselves in a hole in the first half, and it was kind of hard getting our way out. I think the biggest thing for this team now is really find out who the dudes are. CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup had the scoring catches for Dallas, and Rico Dowdye had a 1-yard plunge that was originally called short but overturned when the Cowboys challenged. Prescott was 24 of 39 for 271 yards, and the Cowboys limited Hurts to 197 yards passing and 30 rushing. Ferguson is completing quite the highlight reel of hurdle plays, and now the second-year player has consecutive games of at least 5 catches and at least 70 yards for the first time. Confidence is through the roof with him, Prescott said. He's a fun guy to play with, active, will do whatever it takes, wants to make the catch, wants to jump over guys. And there were some injuries. Eagles safety Reed Blankenship was ruled out with a concussion after leaving the game in the first half. Cowboys defensive tackle Jonathan Hankins sprained an ankle in the third quarter and didn't return. Now, up next, the Eagles are at the play Seattle next Monday night on December 18th. The Seahawks loss at San Francisco means Philadelphia won't face a team with a winning record in its final 4 games. And the Cowboys are at Buffalo next Sunday in the first of consecutive road matchups with AFC East playoff contenders. The second is division-leading Miami, which will be, I think, the following week. So this is one of those games. Philly just has dug themselves into a hole, and they've got to find a way out. They need to win these last 4 games to maintain getting into the playoffs. Right now, I'm going to give the game balls out, and I got to give credit to where credit is due. Dallas dominated and just never let up. Dak Prescott, 24 39 carries and attempts, 271 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Rico Dowdle, 12 attempts, 46 yards, 1 touchdown, and CeeDee Lamb, 6 receptions, 71 yards, 1 touchdown. So Philadelphia's got some work to do, and I think that Dallas, I think they may get the one over Buffalo on the road, so we'll see. Well, it's when I get now for the Monday Night Football. We'll get to the 2 games in a moment. But first, it's time for Sky Sports 101, Monday Night Football, Week 14, NFL Trivia question. It's a Dolphins one. Which pro team drafted Dolphin quarterback Dan Marino first? I will have the answer later in the podcast. It's Monday Night Football, Week 14. Are you ready for some football? We have not Uh, we have not one, but two games this week on Monday Night Football. Two AFC matchups for you tonight. The Green Bay Packers and the New York Giants are battling it out at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. And the Green Bay Packers are coming off a 27-19 win at home over the Kansas City Chiefs last week. Uh, the Packers have gotten themselves into playoff contention, surprisingly enough. They really want to keep their playoff hopes alive with a win over the Giants tonight. And Green Bay has really, they've been coming alive lately with a couple of big wins, and they need to keep that momentum going. And meanwhile, the Giants are coming off a bye week, although this team is obviously not going to make the playoffs this season. But they really want to go to 5-8, and just for pride in this game, with a win over the Packers tonight, and they would like to win their four remaining games. So we shall see on that. The other Monday night game going on tonight is between the Tennessee Titans and the Miami Dolphins at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. And the Packers Giants game is at MetLife Stadium in New York. The Dolphins are coming off a big 45-15 blowout win over the Washington Commanders last week. The Dolphins are really looking like they are Super Bowl contenders. The Dolphins are 9-3 on the season and really want to solidify a playoff spot with a win over the Titans tonight. They've had several big blowout wins this season, besides the one over Washington last week, including the 70-20 win over the Denver Broncos in Week 3. And Miami they've been really, there's been some games where they've struggled, but they've been dominating a lot. They're 9-3, and they've been really, really dominating a lot. They have been having a great season, and I think really they are definitely going to make the playoffs. Meanwhile, the Tennessee Titans are coming off a 31-28 loss at the hands of the Denver Broncos last week. The Indianapolis Colts last week. They're coming off a 31-28 loss at the hands of the Indianapolis Colts last week. Excuse me. The Titans would like to snap their two-game losing skid with a win over the Dolphins tonight, and both games are at halftime right now. It's 10-7 Titans at halftime, but at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, and at MetLife Stadium in New York at halftime, it's 10-7 Packers right now. But look for if Tennessee wants to get this one, they've got to keep Tua Tagovailoa on his toes. They've got to keep the defensive front line from getting in the end zone and scoring, and their offensive front line. And the Giants need to do the same thing, and they've got to find a way to slow down Jordan Love. So. We'll get back to more of this in a minute. I want to reveal the answer to today's Scott Sports 101 trivia question. What pro team drafted Dolphin QB Dan Marino first? If you said the Kansas City Royals, you are correct. He was also drafted by the Generals, first player ever selected by the USFL. And I'll have another trivia question on my next podcast, so stay tuned for that. Now, getting back to these two games tonight, it's been a low-scoring first half for both teams, but they're going to the Dolphins, if they want to win, they've got to come out strong in the second half, and I think they will. And Green Bay, I think, is going to get the win over the Giants. But the Giants need to come on strong. If they want to win this game tonight over the Packers, they've got to come out and really dominate that second half. Just try to look for them to then look for the Packers to really keep the Giants on their toes. Well, that's just about going to wrap it up for the Scott Sports 101 Sunday Night Football postgame show, Monday Night Football update show. I'll be back with the postgame show once both Monday night games have concluded. But until then, always remember, be a team player each and every day in every way possible. So long, everybody. 3, 2, 1. I'm done.